Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Glenn, for the introduction. Actually, there's a fun story. Yesterday was my 5th year work anniversary, and I recall that about 5 years ago and some weeks, I was interviewing with my current company, Farfetch, and the COO at the time asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So basically yesterday, and I told him, well, I can see myself as a CDO, Chief Data Scientist, Chief Data Officer. And while I'm not there yet, because he is yet to come, I guess the data wasn't ready at the time, but you know, data science doesn't get everything right every time, but we get it right most of the time. So thank you for the introduction. I would like to extend my appreciation to the invitation that I got to share my experience and my opinions in data science and how data science is revolutionizing fashion and e-commerce. I would also like to introduce myself. I've been around for 8 years playing with data. I was a researcher, became a consultant, and I've been playing with data at Farfetch for the last 5 years. Today the talk is going to be about my opinions. As I said, I'm not representing any company that I worked for or I'm working for now. And I will try to engage a little bit with the audience now by asking a few questions. So as you know, the talk is going to be about fashion and e-commerce. So how many of you have ever shopped online? All right, most of the audience. And how many of you have shopped for fashion online? Not necessarily luxury fashion. All right, let's say that's 40% of the previous 90%, good. And just to set expectations, how many of you are data scientists here today? All right, great. Okay, so fashion and e-commerce. My talk is going to be about some of the use cases where we can apply data science in this environment. So let me explore a little bit of these concepts, fashion and e-commerce. E-commerce is essentially the online version of going to the mall, shopping, right? It has advantages and disadvantages. I would like to highlight, frankly, that by being online, you are always available, or you should be at least, if your website is always up. On the other hand, you probably will never meet the customer. You'll never see him, which is a disadvantage. Well, but we have data. We have very good mechanisms to track how customers are behaving in our environment, on our website, apps, and so on. And that makes it very, very interesting for data science.
Carlos, desculpa.
Yeah.
O microfone está bocadinho baixo demais.
Oh, sorry. Good now? Everyone can hear me in the back? Okay. So yeah. I was saying fashion. Fashion is essentially a subset of all the possible kind of items that you can shop, right? We're talking about clothing, luxury clothing, and so on and so on. It also has advantages and disadvantages. Probably the biggest advantage is that you can really specialize on this domain of just looking at a specific set of items. The main disadvantage is the fact that you cannot use generic methods, or you cannot generalize your methodologies to apply in different environments. But we can work with that. And my question now for the audience is, when you think about e-commerce or fashion, what are the main use cases you can think of to apply data science in a website? Can anyone tell me a couple? One, at least? Recommendations is a very good example. Yes, so it kind of connects with the personalization bit. So for me, in e-commerce, we have at least 4 big pillars of possibilities to apply data science. We have personalization, we understand the customer, we tailor the experience to the customer. We have a discovery pillar where we bring out the best content and the most relevant content to the customer. It kind of connects and overlaps with personalization, but it can be a little bit different in terms of the methodologies that you apply. Then you have marketing. Marketing is usually the engine of every company. You put money in and money comes out on the other end, right? Your marketing is here to convert cash into cash, essentially. And finally, and this relates heavily with my background in industrial engineering, we have process automation, okay? I'm going to deep dive a little bit on a few use cases, a few use cases where you can apply data science. So I would start by opening a website, and I open the home page and I see a lot of content, right? It's the home page, we see the new items, we see a couple of editorial content. Editorial is very important for e-commerce because it attracts customers that are heavily engaged with your brand or with the content, the items that you're offering. It also helps you a lot in terms of search engine optimization because it boosts the value of the website in terms of keyword content, right? But traditionally, websites were static. I guess newspapers were one of the first at replacing the static content by dynamic content and showing news articles that were most relevant for the user that was opening the website. And that's what I mean by showing the right content, right? You open the website, the right editorial content, the right news, the right article is going to be in front of you. You won't have to be looking for it. You just have to search for it. And that kind of reduces the friction that exists with the online shopping experience or with the online browsing experience. This is very important for reducing bounce rates, for example. The number of people that open the website and deflect, just exit without interacting with you anymore. I think there's also a very good and fun example of how we can apply data science in an e-commerce environment. Predicting the gender, right? Imagine that you are on your mobile phone commuting to work and you are browsing on Google looking for shirts, right? T-shirts, to be precise. And you open the first website that comes up on Google and you end up in, let's say, the woman's page for T-shirts. And you might be a woman, you might be a man, and if you're a man, that's friction. Because if I knew that you were a man, I would show you the man content instead of the woman one, right? Oops. Apologies for the technicalities. As I was saying, this reduces the friction. If you are to change to the men's page, you have to do at least 2 or 3 clicks on the mobile phone. The menu might be hidden because the screen is very small, and this increases the friction and increases the likelihood or the probability of you bouncing out the website and just go to the second hit on Google. Gender prediction might seem a very trivial example, but, well, for most of the users, you don't know anything about them, right? So there's a cold start problem. You cannot really predict who they are without them showing you a little bit of data, right? But for everyone else, you have the browsing history, you might have the transaction history, and that gives you very powerful signs that allow you to predict who this person might be and show him a little bit better content than everyone else. This also allows you to target better your audiences. Imagine that you have a very big email subscribers list. Well, should you be really showing women's articles to men? Of course not. So if people don't tell you who they are, men or female, men or women, you'll have to predict. And data science can really help you doing this and improve your engagement metrics over time. If we think about discovery, imagine Alibaba that has 50 million products to browse. It's really difficult to find the right one. Even for smaller websites, more tailored ones, like fashion, luxury fashion, it's a very tough job. And products will have characteristics, persons will also have characteristics that define profiles, and you'll be able to match them and improve the engagement and the discoverability of products. Especially as time goes by and people give you more and more hints, more signs about who they are, what they like, what are their tastes. And it's very difficult, well, it's not trivial at least, to define a profile, a product profile or a person's profile. But there's a lot of work being done in academia on research that allows you to better discover who these persons are and which personas they are. again, cold start problems emerge, scalability issues emerge, and these are very difficult problems to solve. But I can say that it's also not the job of the data scientists to do so. You have to have robust engineering teams, architecture teams that allow you to do this in a very scalable way. Still on the discovery phase, we also have to understand what the user wants, right? Imagine that you have your little Google box that allows users to search on your internal catalog or your internal database, and someone writes multicolored leather jacket from some brand with silver buttons. There are many, many words, and you probably don't have these words defining your catalog, your products. So you might resort to the images to detect if the images have these kind of attributes. You might have to have teams doing this content manually to define better the content that you emerge to the customers. But the least trivial part, the most difficult part, is really understanding what each of these words mean. Are they a verb? Are they a noun? Should I just exclude this word from my search query? And of course, if we think about multi-language websites, this is also a very difficult problem because languages don't map directly to each other. And well, they'll also make mistakes and they write typos when they're searching. They are not very careful doing so, and we have to predict, or we have to be careful for them in order to reduce friction, and by doing so, we'll be hopefully improving our conversion rates and engagement. The second statement I have below is an even more difficult example that we should be tackling as a community of, e-commerce players. Okay, let's hope for the best. The second example is a little bit more semantic, right? I'm not using really keywords that define products or not classical attributes that define products. I'm defining an occasion, an event that I'm looking products for. And this kind of intent modeling, topic modeling, it's something very exquisite, okay? It's kind of experience that websites and e-commerce players are trying to offer now. I've seen very fun examples of people just using the search box asking for help, right? They were not searching for products, they were searching for help, like where is my transaction? How can I do X? And if we can cover these kind of use cases by using semantic modeling, we'll be able to offer a better experience, because in the end, since we're not engaging with the customer in the real environment, in the physical environment, we really need to make it easy for them to shop online. So I'm going to give you two more examples about how we can apply data science. Now, a little bit away from the product and going into marketing, for example. If you really understand the customer, you'll be able to target him better. People will engage better with your emails, the open rates will increase, click rates as well. And what we saw about gender prediction, for example, is a very good way to do so. And as you probably know, in your companies, marketing is a very big machine that consumes money to attract customers. If you, especially online, when you're paying for the visits, the traffic that you're getting on the website, if you don't do it right, you'll be overpaying for the visits. You won't be profitable ever. So if you know at least what's the likelihood of people converting for certain keywords that they search for and you pay for, you'll be able to model exactly what's the right price I should be bidding for that kind of keyword, for that kind of person. That's very important, and that's a very, very good use case of data science, particularly statistics, to model and save a lot of money. Now going back to my operational background, I don't know if you've seen Google Talks lately, but recently they announced their assistant, virtual assistant, where they did a demo on live stage, calling an hairdresser, scheduling a haircut, everything autonomously with, well, their Siri, the Google AI assistants, I don't know the name. And a few weeks later, they announced that they were going to roll out that kind of technology for call centers. And again, I've seen the speakers list, I've seen the some of the people that are here in the audience, and I know that those companies resort to very big call centers. Imagine that you can replace at least part of that department by an AI-based assistant. It really brings productivity up. It will really impact your bottom line, and that's very important for any kind of business that is trying to maximize revenue, I mean profit. And AI is getting there, allowing us to do these kind of things. Of course, there's a lot of other kinds of decision-making processes that you can use AI to help you with, to make the best decision, to make the automated decision that AI and data science allows you to do. And by doing so, again, you're going to really impact your bottom line. So, to sum up, I just want to say that you can find data science everywhere on e-commerce. There's a lot of data coming from many, many sides, from the website, from your operational data stores, from all the tools that you work with and engage with your customers. There are a lot of types of data that allows you to build a customer profile and enrich their experience. What I think there is missing, or it's lacking, it's the amount of talent that we're looking for. So I think the supply has been outgrown by demand at this stage. And it's up to us, leaders of these community, leaders of these industries, to really invest in data science, in events like these, in courses. I mean, academia is just now catching up with data science. I can see some master degrees coming up, just focus on data science. There's a lot of online materials out there. I think it's up to us to really invest in the community, grow it, and make it work for everyone else, because it's what we do. And from academia, industry, research, let's make it work, okay? Thank you very much.